Welcome back to Life in a D. I'm your host, Tila, and you already know that this podcast is where we talk about all things Dallas, the people, the culture, the stories, the things that make the city what it is. And today I'm so excited because we have Jack Brown on the podcast. He is the owner of Peer to Peer. It's a nonprofit that is all about wellness and health and taking care of people and looking out for other people. And that is something that is super close to my heart. Now, let's go ahead and get started. And if you don't mind, let's get a little background on you. Tell us a little bit about like where you from and give us a little bit of your background.
I grew up in South Dallas. My family moved to South Dallas back in the 70s. And so the Forest Theater was still open when we moved, right? And that's a landmark for me. South Dallas Forest Theater. The last movie there was Richard Pryor and Superman 3, I believe. Yeah, I'm really old. Yeah. I'm really
Well, you're
old.
looking good though.
You know what they say. So, I grew up in South Dallas, but I got fortunate enough. My mom was really big on education, so she shot me to private school. So I have a pretty good education, one of the best education money could pay for. Kind of squandered it a little bit later on, but for the most part, great childhood. Went to St. Peter's, enjoyed it. I made sure we were very culturally diverse. Growing up, she didn't want me to just be another hood dude. I remember one of our last conversations going into my freshman year of high school. I wanted to go to Skyline. Everybody was going to Skyline. And so I was trying to go to Skyline. And she said, look, you can go to Skyline, sports, and you could just be another black athlete, or you can go over here to Bishop Lynch, walk on the field, and just because of the color of your skin, they're going to automatically let you play. And that actually happened. On the field, and coach said, hey, you play football? I say, yeah. He said, well, suit up tomorrow. Meet me now. I'm going to suit you out. And that's all it took.
Wow. That's crazy.
Right? Fast forward, lived in LA for a little while. That's kind of where trouble began for me. LA was such a culture shock. You know what I mean? The gang banging. I'm from Texas. I don't know nothing about that. And my lesson was my little play cousin at the time was like, hey, if anybody asks you if you're a Crip or a Blood, you tell them neither. And that was it. Well, LA wasn't like that. Couldn't tell people no, I don't bang and you pass, right? There was some time when I had to run for my little life.
Man. Okay.
LA was fast. Ended up dropping out of high school, all of the things. Moved back to Texas after my mom passed away. Well, my aunt who actually raised me. Felt guilty about the high school thing, so I went to the Army. Stayed there a couple of years, hurt my knee. Came home, medical discharge. The rest is, you're going to have to buy the book.
I'm not mad at it. That's fair. So yeah, I see that you have a nonprofit though, and I see that it's got some mental health, it's got some wellness. You're doing a lot of good things. Tell us a little bit about how you got started with your nonprofit. What drove you in that lane?
Part of my colorful past is I've had some substance use challenges in the past, right? And so being a veteran, I decided to go get some help, and I met a gentleman who I thought was a counselor, and he was not. He was what they call a peer support specialist. And so that is someone with lived experience, right? That's given to you to help guide you along your recovery. And so two things happened in treatment. One counselor said only 2 people in this class are going to make it. And I was looking around like, who the other one was? And I knew I wanted to be a peer, right? I wanted to use my story to try to help people. And so I got a job. And politics play a big part of some nonprofits and things of that nature. And I didn't like the way people were being treated. And so I said, well, hey, when I start my business, I'm not going to do it not knowing I was speaking it into existence. And so luck would have it, or God would have it, ended up with a nonprofit. So we primarily focus on mental health issues because people of color don't even know that they're affected mental health wise, right? And a lot of people don't really know sometimes the substance abuse is connected to mental health challenges, and you just like self prescribing it for these things, right? And so my job is to be a black man advocate. We don't talk about trauma, we don't talk about things. It's hard being a black man. You know what I mean? And there's no instruction book to it, like I have multiple incarcerations and I'm an absentee father and things of that nature, right? But today, I get to spend time with my kids and they work with me in the nonprofit. Right? They work the cowboy. So, and that's really my why. I want them to know that their dad was more than just a gangbang and a drug dealer, right? Or a drug addict, right? And so I work hard at helping others to the best of my ability. Peer to peer, we do several mobile pantries throughout the community. We provide free groceries and a lot of food deserts. We do one in Oak Cliff, one in Martin, and one in South Dallas, where I'm from. We feed the homeless, feed the forgotten every second Saturday of the month, guaranteed. We've been doing that like going on 6 years. And it's our sleeping bag drive, right? At the end of the year, we like to try to make it special. And so we do a Christmas style meal, kids, everything we can get our hands on, and we pass out sleeping bags. So last year, the goal was 1,000. We succeeded that by 153. We distributed them throughout the DFW on the same day. And so that's the plan this year. We're actually running the drive. So the goal this year is 2,000 sleeping bags. And I think we're going to do it on 2 separate days, but if not, it'll be on the same day again. So I said,
And how are people donate? Do they just bring the sleeping bags to your facility, or how do they usually do it?
So I can give you a copy of the flyer. We have a QR code. You can drop them off. We take gently used sleeping bags. They don't all have to be new. They're $14.99 at Academy, so they're not extremely high. They're decent. Most of the academies we interact with, they're knowledgeable of what we're doing, so they'll give us anywhere between 10, 15, 20%, up to 20% discount. You let them know what that it's for peer to peer at this cost. And yeah, I'll come get them.
That's cool. You said by any means. But when you were talking about the peer to peer thing, I think that's really interesting because I really kind of never heard of that. Maybe some people haven't either. So, and I also I was reading on your website that you offer like a training for people who are interested in that. It's like, say you don't have to be a certified counselor or anything like that. You take this training and you can be qualified to do the peer to peer counseling or training.
Yes. And that's what I love about it. Peer support is an actual professional credential throughout the nation, right? And we have the privilege to be able to train the next workforce by providing this 46-hour training. And you will be registered in the state of Texas database as a professional for the next 2 years. Your education unit, but usually everyone's peer supervisor that takes the training. So I'll walk you through all of that and make sure that you are squared away.
Okay. And people can usually do it all online, right? You don't have to actually go in person. Can you just take your courses online?
It's all online. We cater to the working general, right? A lot of people can't take off a full day from their jobs, things of that nature. So we do it in the evening time, mainly from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. And then on Saturdays, it'll be a full 8-hour day. But it gives you all your training. Right?
Okay. And with this certification, I know you can help out programs like yours, but what else can you do with that kind of certification?
I mean, peer support is evidence-based. Like you can pretty much go anywhere. Like most county hospitals, most LMHAs, local mental health authorities are always looking for peer supports. I've got somebody a job the other day in the field. So if you want a job, you can get.
Okay. That's really cool. And what kind of things I know like it's a lot of chaos going on in the world today. What kind of other kind of support does your nonprofit look for or need? Like can people come and volunteer and help out in any other kind of way?
Yeah, man, we always need volunteers. Always, like it takes a lot to pull off these events and things of that nature. And I like for people to come and feel what I feel. Right, being a servant feels like really warm and fuzzy. Right, and you did it. I'm telling you, it's a whole rush. Right, and it actually, the people on the receiving end, they love to see just normal people come out and volunteer their time and say hello. Right, there's somebody's mom, dad, uncle, cousin. You know what I mean? And so, if we're gonna change our communities, it got to start somewhere. Right, and so these kids are watching the older people, right? A lot of people focus on youth, and that's fine, but we need to meet in the middle. We need to work on both ends. We need that uncle to know that he is still an uncle and he is needed in the household. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. I know too, a lot of nonprofits usually have like a couple like really good like success stories. Do you have anybody that comes, you don't have to name their name or nothing, but anybody that comes to mind as somebody maybe came through your program that had some major life changes or some kind of success you've seen from the program? I
oh
know yourself
man,
as one of them, right?
yeah, I'm a whole story. A good friend of mine I've known for over a decade. He came to me and I talked to him into taking the training. He had no experience in this field whatsoever. And so I talked him into taking the training and he took the training and now he's dual certified. He's got a better job, well paying job, and he started his own business and is probably in the middle of closing on his first house, transitional house, sober living house. So,
That's really cool. That's
right?
really cool. And you was also kind of tapping into talking a little bit about, how it is difficult out here. A lot of people are struggling with mental health. People who may be struggling, but also kind of hesitant though to get help. What would you say for people like that?
So me, I'm real big on therapy. Medication if you need it. I take meds every day. It's not all about the meds, but being able to talk to someone about what happened, being able to name what happened is a part of the healing process. And why not tell a therapist? As long as I'm not talking about harming myself, kids and seniors, they can't tell nobody nothing. I can sit there and tell them I hate my mom and dad and everybody. And they're bound by law. I mean, and I'm sorry if that just sounded really bad or graphic or things of that nature. I know, I'm sorry. But it's, but it's just that serious, right? Because I don't know what it, for years, I didn't know why my mom abandoned me, right? So being able to tell someone that my mom abandoned me, right, was a big deal. And so that was the first, but it was also, releasing, like, took away the power of that trauma. Does that make sense?
Definitely. And I think too, though, it's also too, I think the stigma, especially in our community about, one, I know like with my mom, if I told her I was in therapy, it was like, girl, you need to go to church. You should just pray about it. Why are you like wasting that money talking to somebody when you could just, so it's that
Go
kind of,
talk to the pastor.
attitude. Yes. So it's that kind of attitude. And then it's also like the stigma of something wrong with you. You crazy. If you're talking to a therapist, like, so I think we deal with a lot of that kind of in the back of our
But
minds as well.
but that's the reality check. Something is wrong with me. you know, I shouldn't be doing some of the things that I do or act the way that I act, right? And so that, yes, acknowledging that there is something possibly wrong with me. Yes, I'm not perfect. Yes, I'm defective to a certain degree, but I can heal from it, right? Um, and I laugh and I play, and I'll share this and I'll be quiet. I tell people I've been driving since I was 9 years old, right? Those are facts. I really have. The sad part about that trauma is my stepmom was an alcoholic and she got drunk and made me drive me and my stepsister home at 9. So that's traumatizing, right? But I dressed it up and accepted it. I swallowed it. I swallowed it. Oh, man, I've been driving since I was 9 because it's the same too. Because don't know. Nobody want to hear the part where again I could barely touch the gas pedal. I was scared to death. I didn't know if we were gonna make it. I don't want to hear that part. But that's the part we need to talk about. No child should be driving a car at 9 years old. And then you can't tell nobody about it.
Yeah. Well, what on the other flip side of that, I would say, what about like, talking to some of our friends? You know how sometimes I think especially now it's a thing of like trauma dumping on our friends, right? We don't want to give them too much because we know they're going through their own thing too. But at the same time, we feel like, they are friends. We should be able to share a little bit with them, right?
That's why you get a therapist. You can trauma vomit on them all day. They get paid for it.
Yeah. Is there any
Right?
other resources for maybe like a little bit more affordable kind of therapy people probably should know about? Because sometimes, not all of us got the insurance or, extra money to pay a therapist. Where are other resources for that?
I can't think of it, but this is what I will say. This is what I know to be true. In most fairly large churches, they all have a counseling practice, or they have counselors on staff at the church in case you want to talk. There's one, and I can't think of the name of it. It's in Oak Cliff. It's through Concord Church. And it's actually the therapy is on a sliding scale. So you can't pay, you don't have to pay. Right. And so they're pretty cool. Then there's always us. Like you can always come talk to us. Like come volunteer and talk to me. I'm good.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
We also have an event coming up in October. It's going to be a family mental health awareness event. Hopefully, it's going to be in Oak Cliff, Texas, at a venue called For Oak Cliff. That young man is doing amazing things over there. You guys want to check them out. Like they have an amazing youth program, literacy program. They have a farmers market for fresh produce, so we can get fresh produce and help the foods back into the community. And so it's going to be a free event. I need all the vendors. I need you to come, be a part of it. And the goal is twofold: to make the community aware of these resources, but also to make other vendors aware of resources that's right here at their disposal in Dallas. So
Okay, that's perfect. And you say that date one more time for us?
I didn't.
Oh,
Late October.
okay, late October. Okay, we'll be looking out for it then.
I got you. I got you. You'll be the first to get the flyer, right? I got you. But yeah, it's gonna be amazing.
Perfect. Okay. And then give everybody how they can reach you. Tell us your website again and how we can reach you if you're on social. Shout all that out so we'll have that info as well.
Okay, so I got really thick tongue, y'all, so bear with me. You can follow us on all social media platforms at Peer to Peer Whole Wellness. That's peer to peer with a number 2. Whole Wellness. It's a logo with a tree and a whole bunch of different color hands because we help everybody. And that's on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok. And if you want to know more about events, you can go to our website at peertopeerwholewellness.org. And there's always event updates and things that nature.
Okay.
We at Peer to Peer, we believe in helping folks. We change lives in different ways, right? We do it in a supportive kind of way, right? Not a volunteer, but from I've been there and I understand and I can help you get to the other side if you allow me. So I guess if anything, I would tell people to look up peer support specialists. In the state of Texas, they have one for mental health, they have one for substance use, and they also have one for justice and for reentry.
Talk about veteran stuff.
We do equine therapy with the veterans, right? I belong to a riding program for Broken Wheel Ranch project up in Bonham, Texas, and so riding horses was a part of my recovery. It really saved my life, right? If I be honest, and so I like for other veterans to be able to feel that, and it's not just always veterans. But we need it the most because we only talk to other veterans. Does that make sense?
What is it about the horses? Is it specifically the horses or just kind of being out in nature? What is it?
I think it's all inclusive. It's a little bit of all of the above, right? There's this big scary animal that you supposed to dominate, and so you're sitting on top of it, like, please don't throw me out. And so you guys build a bond and you build a connection, and so then that comfort kicks in and you can really take in the trail ride where we're out on the trail in the nature and things that nature. So it's fun. I see people like this. We start. I know we come back like they've been riding 20 years, and so it's fun.
That's cool. And how often do y'all do that?
Man, not often enough. The program is available every month. But a lot of the program the classes are structured quarterly, like they do cohorts, right? Possibly a 5 man cohort, and they'll be together for the next 90 days or so. Once you complete that, you're still able to come by and be a part of, you know what I'm saying? But then we're training the next cohort. The goal is to get as many veterans together as possible.
Okay. Okay. And I guess for my folks who are watching who like the idea of nonprofits and stuff, and maybe how difficult is it to start a nonprofit of something that you're interested in?
Don't do it. No, there's a lot of work, but the payout is worth it, right? Um, it's a lot of baptism by fire, and you kind of trial and error. You learn what not to do, right? Um, Again, it's worth it to me, though. You know, yeah, it's very much worth it. Being able to give back to the very community that I took from means a lot to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you. I
Thank
truly
you.
appreciate you.
Guys, thank you.
That was such a good conversation. I'm so thankful for Jack for joining us today for the pod. It was such a good conversation. And if you can help him in his drive for sleeping bags, please go online and do that, or go and drop off some stuff at the facility and check him out. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you hit follow so you don't miss the next conversation. And if you are loving the podcast, leave us a quick review that helps more people find our pod. Until next time, may your boots stay dusty, margaritas stay spicy, and your life stay bold.